My passion is helping people to help themselves, Brandon. We have this big brain. It's our major evolutionary advantage sitting on top of our shoulders, but it does not come with a user's manual. So that means that we don't know at the beginning everything we can do with our brain to help ourselves control our focus of attention, help our bodies feel more relaxed, deal with stress, fear, anxiety, get to sleep and get back to sleep if you wake up at night. Control pain. It's a remarkable tool for helping people to control pain, deal with bad habits like vaping and smoking cigarettes. So it's an opportunity that people carry within them. It's an undeveloped skill that many people can learn to use that can be tremendously helpful, can help them feel better while not exposing themselves to the risks of drugs like opioids, which are killing thousands of people every year in America. So I want to use the time I have to not only teach people about it, teach them how to use it, but disseminate it as widely as we can. So anybody who wants can give it a try and see how much they can learn to help themselves. Hypnosis is not something that I do to you. It's something you learn to do for yourself. And so everybody carries within themselves some ability to use this technique to focus their attention and solve problems in a very positive and helpful way. And so I want people to discover directly what a tremendous potential ability they have to focus their attention, to put outside of conscious awareness things that would ordinarily bug them in consciousness, and to change, to sort of put their usual self aside and try out being different.
Yeah.
And one of the things that scares people the most about hypnosis, this idea of suggestibility and somebody can make you do anything you don't want. And, many people have been in one of these silly shows where, the football coach dances like a ballerina.
Yeah.
That I don't like making fun of people anyway, especially with hypnosis. But there is a message in there, Brandon. And the message is you can try out just seeing what it would be like to be different. Just put your usual self aside for a while and see what would happen if, instead of getting frustrated and angry at your body for the pain, which only makes it worse, you can teach your body to reprocess the pain signals and feel them differently, to filter the hurt out of the pain. So if you just try it, you see whether you like it. You see whether it helps you or not. And if it does, learn to use it. So we've been very interested, and it's clear, the old language was, you are going to sleep. Well, you're not going to sleep in hypnosis. And EEG and functional magnetic resonance imaging and PET imaging studies all show that hypnosis is a form of resting alertness. It is not a form of sleep. And there are three basic things that happen in your brain when you go into a hypnotic state. One is you turn down activity, and we've done this with functional magnetic resonance imaging. We take high and low hypnotizable subjects, students and others, put them into a hypnotic state while they're in the scanner, and three things happen. One, you turn down activity in what's called the anterior cingulate cortex. The cingulate cortex is this part of the brain at the base, near the base of the brain. It's like a C on its edge. Mm-hmm. And the anterior, the front part, is part of what we call the salience network. It's a pattern matching part of the brain that says, something's happening, you better pay attention to. So you hear a loud noise that hijacks your attention, and you see whether there's somebody outside with a gun or something, and you have to do something about it.
Yeah.
It's what social media use to hijack attention. So suddenly you get a message that there are 12 girls out there who think they're prettier than you are. And it's a kind of threat to yourself.
What? Impossible.
You're off. Yeah, right. And so you turn down activity in that part of the brain. So you're less likely to be distracted. That allows you to intensify the focus of your attention. The second thing that happens is you increase functional connectivity. So when one part of the brain is active, the other part is active. Between the left dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, which is part of the executive control network, a part of the brain that hopefully I'm using now and talking to you to organize my thoughts and present them clearly, and the insula, which is insula is Latin for island. It's a little island of neural tissue in the middle of the base of the brain. And it's our mind-body relay. It's where the brain communicates to the body how to react, and also it manages interoception, how we perceive our bodies. And so in hypnosis, you have an exceptionally good ability to control how your body is feeling and acting and how you perceive it. The third thing is that there is inverse functional connectivity between the executive control region in the front and the posterior cingulate cortex. That's part of what we call the default mode network. It's a part of the brain where you sort of conceptualize who you are. If you're not doing much and just thinking, who am I? What am I like? What do people think of me? That's the default mode operating. That's how in hypnosis you can do things that ordinarily you wouldn't even think you could do, because you're not worried about whether it's consistent with your past behavior or what people will think of you. You just do it. So that capacity to kind of put yourself aside, which is part of a lot of interest now in therapeutic approaches of various kinds, including psychedelics. That
like ketamine, for example.
Get over yourself. Ketamine, right, a dissociogenic drug. You're altering activity in that part of the brain, and you just try it and see what it's like. So even if you didn't think you could do it, you might surprise yourself and find that you can.
Yeah.
So those are the three major things that happen in hypnosis. It's a kind of resting focal alertness. In hypnosis, you intensify the focus of attention. We call that absorption. Highly hypnotizable people are the kind of people who get so lost in a sunset that they, come home late for dinner and forget three other things they're supposed to do. Or people who get so caught up in a good movie that they forget they're watching a movie and enter the imagined world. Hypnosis has been called believed in imagination. So absorption, focus is one component. The second is dissociation, putting outside of conscious awareness things that would ordinarily be in consciousness. Now, we do it all the time. Right now, Brendan, you're having sensations in your bottom touching the chair you're sitting in, I presume. But hopefully you weren't even aware of them until I mentioned it to you.
Right, exactly.
If you were, we could just stop now. But
it's a different kind of podcast.
Right. So that allows you to put outside of awareness things you'd rather not pay attention to sometimes, like pain, for example. So absorption, dissociation. And the third is this, what used to be called suggestibility, the thing that scares people about hypnosis, is really cognitive flexibility. It's saying, why don't I try out something I didn't think was possible and see what happens? So you can put those three things together: focused attention, dissociation, and cognitive flexibility. And it's a great matrix for change, for being different and seeing what it feels like. And that's how we use it.